Ms. Lin turned her head and looked confused. Miss Lost, run and find the marshal. As long as you get to him, you'll be safe. Often unconsciously frown. He looked anxiously at the sea and said that Van Hai let it. She knows the mind of the lonely. Ms. Lam said rest assured to Van Hai. The fifth meaning of the name Hong Fu Than Thien Kier. I dare not do anything to him. We won't stop this monster for long. You go. The woman looked at her to reassure her. Don't worry, go. Often a little hesitant, still not moving. At this moment, he stopped running to pull her hand. I want to leave with her. 1,000 years ago, I was always told that I was a burden. I now save his daughter's life. Let's see if he can say thank you. I often look at the lady. Like an angel in front of you. Suddenly melted in my heart. The clouds also spread, and the incense leaves. Lin Feng looked at the backs of two people, laughing at the sound of wanting to run. Do you want to lose interest? He didn't even have time to leave. Vu Sun gave Tay to stop laughing and shaking his head. The wind suddenly startled. My eyes are a little unclear. He looked at him with suspicion or contempt. Refused for comments. Next to it, she looked at the two girls who wanted to run. Scornfully laughing said, rabbits always think that they can escape the pursuit of animals. Finally, just physically tired. The pilot is useless. Pick up your feet and come. Attack on the side of two ordinary stragglers. The 4 tigers in his eyes were a bit constricted. Hurry up and form the final squad. Yelling loud. Fong Lam Ho Sun, the army of heaven. In the blink of an eye, like a flash flood. Big waves and wind, like the army of heaven sweeping across the battlefield. Even though there are only 4 of them, it's like more than 10 people coming together. Power increased sharply. Even if it is the Holy Spirit, I also feel the scream coming. Smacked straight in the face. But the Holy Spirit is just amazing. In a moment, smiling softly, I can't believe it's a coordinated battle. Unfortunately, the level is too low. I have a right to beat him a little. 4 people were immediately beaten up, spitting out a sip of fresh blood. Turn your eyes back. Hong Fu is smiling with a smile. A look of contempt. It's like an emperor looking at ants. Suddenly right now, a wind chariot sound. Then I heard a dragon soaking. A long pan from the bottom of Hong Fu Than Thien. Hitu. A treacherous assassin with merciless force. It makes people look and complain. Useless potential, yelling loudly, coming. Hong Fu is a disdainful person. Arbitrarily avoid the potential. Every life is worse than before. It's your turn. I can't believe I only know these 3 foxes. Long Run Van also did not pay attention to laughing he. I don't care if I'm the most hungry. It's not just mediocre martial arts. We just need one. In his eyes flashed a ray of contempt. 1 leg up, ready to kick him. But right now, the king suddenly discovered him. Without moving. A layer of frost. I don't know when I got my feet. so he couldn't move at all. At the same time, the environment is soothing. Every cold ray towards the top of his head he's struck down. The one who comes is the city. This time he couldn't move. There's a walk on the bottom. On the basis of the tendency to the chief of the pearl hit down. One on one under, forcing him into a fish in a pot can't resist. Hong Fu looked back with tears in his eyes. Laughing for an hour. There's no fear of saying that's what Ra is. When the tigers stopped me. Trap lay out of the field ice welding here It's not bad, it's not bad, it's like the prince lost a step. But unfortunately, you are a grasshopper who rocks his car and humiliates himself. Today a moment, two people tend to hit it down together. And one hits 7 times. Because when you two seem to have one. Around the body of Hong Fu Then Thien, suddenly there's a bright light. A soaking dragon's voice echoed. One of Long Kim's illusory heads appeared. Hit to people flying out. And spat out a sip of fresh blood. The 2 old owners of the flower dance rushed to support the inclination, anxiously exclaimed the inclination. The waning dragon sat on the ground and cried out in terror. That's what it is. The corners of his mouth flashed contemptuously at him. Hong Fu Then Thien laughed out loud. It is the testimony of the emperor. Something you don't deserve to know. 296 Ma Long revealed. When he finished speaking, he did not look at him anymore. I shake myself up in front of the ordinary. Block their way. The two turned their heads and looked back. I have seen the trend. Thank heaven, and the dragon, and the 4 tigers. They're all lying on the ground. Everyone was injured not to stand up. 2 people in their eyes filled with panic. And no one can stop them. He's fighting like this. Now it was just a lift of his hand. It's not too surprising, though. 2 ordinary family ladies. How can you know? To the terror of the heavenly government. Even the people in the 6th longest phoenix. He doesn't even know his true power. Fish, be careful. Shout out a loud voice in front of me. But even the 6th longest phoenix can't be stopped. His strength, making Sao can be useful. Hong Fu lifted his hands. The sky immediately flew out, banging on the ground. I didn't even look at him. Hong Fu scorned the insects. He looked at the 2 ordinary people. Laughing, I said, Miss Lost. This one's. I'm sure we'll make 2 people dead. If it gets to this point, the name doesn't appear. Either that or he's dead. Or he's a snub turtle. It doesn't matter whether you meet the prince or not. You're the turtle. You must be the hero. He stood up and looked at him loudly. Is the dung that lives and dies hugging her? Calmly nod to the caption. The king laughed for 2 hours of contempt. I also hope he's a hero. There's something about this. He was able to prove that he was dead. He then raised his hand to slow down. But with these 2 ladies hand-tied, tightly stitched chicken. It's like a big mountain that's choking. Everyone who saw this wanted to go to the rescue. In any case, the mind cannot move. Billions of high fecal anxiously exclaimed. Stop, children. The sky is lying on the ground urgently screaming. Hong Fu is cold. Look at the two women in front of you. There is no pity for the jewel. A hand came up in front of them. Ha ha ha. Looks like that mortal won't really show up. It's a shame. You have lost your life because of his actions. So you want to blame? Let's blame the world. He made you die when you were young. Is the same reward that stops hugging each other. Bite your teeth without moaning. Thank God for looking at the situation in front of you. I can't stand to punch hard on the ground. Bite my teeth resentful of the poor bastard. Because every time you mess up, you all ran away before you finished. Stop losing your life because of you. But he forgot about the worst. It has never been related to the smell. Today's event. If she doesn't put her hand in the royal palace. I don't even know about her existence. Is related to, probably the most. The more I won't touch her. It's because she's worried. Automatically into this mud. There is no full body power. I should blame her for not having the power. I like to manage things I can't do with myself. 2. There is also himself. He has no way to protect the people he loves. How can I blame others? I heard him laughing and laughing and laughing. Let's see if the evil man is really dead. If you do nothing, something like this is happening. It hasn't appeared yet. No, surely the world will not die. Is a soft lip-biting award? A steady squid like to speak? Hong Fu Thanthin frowned. The hand was about to hit a chop in front of him. She laughed and said, if he's not dead, call him, prove it. But even if he shows up, it's too late. He can't save two people. Not from the hand of the Lord. Is that the feces are often a little awkward? The two eyes shed tears as they spoke. If you are still alive, show up. At least let me see you one last time. Vu Sun's stupid woman's stuffed mouth disdainfully laughing. Hong Fu said with contempt. It's useless. Don't worry about dying. Is the award is strong hugging the incense stop? There was no fear on his face. But she has a little regret. That is, until death. She couldn't see the worst for the last time. Think about here. She could not help but cry silently calling out his name. Right now, a leader of the royal family without hesitation. Blinking down where? It's become a cave ruin. People look at this in pain. The whole body is powerless, the whole body is filled with pain. And suddenly, the echoing sound of laughter. To everyone's ears. Are you looking for me? People looked in surprise at the sound that came out. I saw a body in black. Full body air potentiation. In his hands, he hugged to ordinary strays. The king looked at the people in the distance. In this world, even if you're famous for speed. In front of the Dragon Emperor. He is not strong enough to save people. One sound. Still in such a dangerous situation. He looked suspiciously at the person in front of him. Maybe this is the one he's waiting for. Slowly open your eyes. I stopped seeing the face coming. Immediately agitated, screaming, Father, of course you are safe. Not the wrong person. He's the one who's talked about the most. In the 100 families of men. This time it's an expected black horse. The world is the best place to live. Put to people on the ground. Rarely shows a gentle smile. Her head said stop. I haven't seen you grown up in a long time. Stop the smile nod. Shyly lowering his head. The sky lies on the ground. It hurts to see this scene. And whispered, little Niu. Why have you never looked at me with those eyes? Take it once. All of a sudden, it's probably the worst. I don't know how to kick my ass. He turned his head angrily. Miss, what are you doing? Just met the rock. But I haven't finished yet. He saw his confused face often filled with warm tears. Shout out, where have you been in 5 years? I'm worried about you. And when he finished, he fell into his arms, and embraced him, and wept. I don't know why she is crying. It's about feeling cared about by others as well. He smiled and nodded. Her hands didn't hold her back. Snow White. I see this scene a little bittersweet. Turn your head. Same on this side. The tendency to see him to where let the stray often embrace. His eyes dropped. To grips tightly to the right. That year he rejected her. Leaving without regret. It was because he had 2 women waiting for him. She shook her head laughing. Your happy time is now. It feels ridiculous to think about it. She wants to experience life with you. Fill pellets. Entrust the life and name of the girl in his hands. She used to think. During that time they were both happy. But maybe she was wrong. She's the only one who thinks that. But she's a little disgruntled. She wanted to hear him speak to her in person. Even if it hurts again. But she still wants to bet. Suddenly right now. A sound direction that breaks the mood of ordinary divergence. Let a woman kick the ass for 5 minutes. See the power of this magic dragon pulse. That's it. I think they just got out of danger. But it's probably the most obvious here. They don't have to be afraid anymore. I thought about it, and then I was afraid to hide behind. The most gentle of all. It's scary, the butler is quick to protect people. Probably the most amazing eye roll. This girl has changed a lot in 5 years. I've also learned how to binge. And yet he hasn't spoken. Lin Feng here laughed and said ha ha ha. The Lord saw this mortal. It's not as bad as the rumors. Right now, he's just a 9-figure figure. I haven't broken through the sky yet. If you fight him, it will cost you a lot. Let's bring it down. Hong Fu and Thien slightly frowned, musing a battle. Finally nods. Most likely, this is bad. But we don't need him either. If it is hidden, you can take this guy raw as bait. Let's see how deep the power is. Then he laughed for an hour. Then you go, my lord. Thank you, great prince. The whole world was met by him. The evil power-hugging slot looks to the surest side of the world to go to. Except to 197 current magic power. Most likely look at the person who is coming. You have to fight a dead man. That's right now. Is the award. There's no taboo at this point. He pointed to the wind. Track the butler. I don't care about the others. But brother, teach this boy a lesson first. Why is he so special? Probably most astounded. On the contrary, they often do not know how to take. Where does courage come from? You say it because before you came, he was rude to people. Make fun of people. Most likely you look at her. This lady has really changed. What doesn't progresses into this form? But he doesn't even notice. Looking towards the forest full of wind and bass voices. If the lady had spoken like that. I am the butler. Maybe not show up. It's boring to mess with my old lady. Ha 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 ha. There is no male. Laughing for 2 hours. But he hasn't finished yet. I didn't know because Sao was blown out. Banging against the wall in the distance. It creates a big hole. Body buried in the ruins. Probably a few meters away from him. Get angry and collect your feet. My cold eyes said. Standing in front of the old man. Dare to say there is no man. It's worth dying for. The air here is as quiet as a sheet. People are stunned. A sound can't be made. Even if it's a monster. King Mon, the Holy Father, did not escape from the Bible. Scared. It's just come to an end. What happened? He doesn't see a bit clearly. Speed is too fast. Most likely, he didn't see it. Just like why waving his legs at will. He could have kicked the wind. Extremely devilish. God, I can't help but feel grateful to see this scene. Dragon in the legend. It is an immortal name. Extremely devilish. The woman next to him also laughed for an hour. Nod to the caption. Now we finally know. Because Sao father again allied with the lost family. This monster is a real shock. Little devil. Why are you risking your life to practice like that? But despite risking their lives to practice, can we catch up to those monsters? The wind spat out a sip of blood. He also lost to teeth. He wiped the blood from his mouth. I don't understand. What happened just now? He can't keep up with the speed of the greatest. In a single stroke, he lost to teeth. If you are serious, it's not the blink of an eye that he'll break flesh or bone. At this moment he finally understood why he had let 7 families without AI be safe. Your power is very powerful. Even the Department of Inclination. You have seen his demonic power. I can't help but feel. Not seen in 5 years. He can still grow to the point where one AI expected. I miss him and the 2 women in his arms. A little bit of jealousy and bitterness. Indifferently waving his hand, probably the most serene face. It's like the ruins he didn't create. Turn your head and look confused. Great lady. How can you punish people like this? If you don't let me give him one more charge. Distractions are often not thought of. He appeared again. It's terrorism to this extent. Difficulty swallowing a gulp of saliva. Then he shook his head. No, he's just talking shit to me. It's a temporary joke. Like the story of Van High. She hasn't finished yet. Perhaps the most suspicious of all was the sound of the ocean. His leg is broken. Is to award a bitter and tragic battle to speak out. I am most likely to be angry when I hear this. Looking back, he asked who it was. It's a pain though. But he was alone for 5 years. Of course I know the benefits of this. So he couldn't make a big deal of it. Otherwise it will be very awkward. Then he shook his head. It's not a bad idea. I can't wait for the most confident person to speak up. Is that the current award is based on? So I don't want to give up. Hurry up and shout out something. Van High enlisted in the army is stupid. Before, we were angry. I'm sure your CA is back by now. There's nothing wrong. We let others bully us like that. I am most likely to be pleased to hear this. Towards the lost Van High voice. Your billions are right. The old man was not present. People have suffered so much that we are powerless. Lao Tzu is back now. There's nothing wrong. Let everyone have to compromise others. He knows the morality of big fish swallowing small fish. If kindness is soft, it will be swallowed by someone else immediately. That's a 3-by-3 argument. But this world is not the world of rational people. It's the world of fake. The old man heard the doctor pout his lips. Hating him was almost a shock. Is that High knows why? I don't listen to anyone's advice. It's kind of awkward. And he whispered, Great Ka. Most likely, he has something difficult to say, nor forced. He turned to look at the old lady. Tell me who. Is that feces are usually not afraid. One hand pointed straight at the forest full of wind. He accused himself of breaking Van High's leg. He alone can't leave the entire room. Are you a person again? Most likely you look at him. On the one hand, look, the owl just happened to be so light. It's hard to swallow a gulp of saliva. Scared to take a few steps back. Full of cold sweat. The devil is ready to be sold. On the one hand, watch. But right now, the Holy Spirit takes another step forward. In front of the whole forest. The cold face is enough. This word just came out. Everyone was silently sweating cold. Finally, the Holy Spirit is coming. They want to know that these two monsters are fighting. Who will be the winner? Now is not the time to turn around. On the contrary, Lin Feng is endlessly happy. There's a barricade in front of you. Most likely the world will not be able to intimidate him anymore. You want to stop me. The most unholy mouth reveals the devilish curve. Slowly shaking his head. Hong Fu elegant face calm. It is not to stop you. You think a lot. It's just one AI that can walk right in front of us. You can't either. Most likely, I looked at him laughing for an hour. He also wants to stop dreaming. Not waiting for people to react. In the blink of an eye, the world disappeared. Waiting for time to appear, has passed the three noble Hongfu. Go to the front of the whole forest. Ha ha ha. The boy who dared to beat our family was injured. Do you know what it costs? End of the word and lift your foot. The entire wind was immediately kicked into the air, spitting out a big sip of blood. 3 Hongfu people screamed with terror. I basically don't know how. Passing in front of them. But more surprisingly, the worst is gone again. And then it floats in the air to grab one leg of the full wind. Hang him upside down. Around the body close to say the boy. You injured one of my father's legs. I will remove one of your legs fairly. The wind trembled with fear. But I can't resist. Can only helplessly shout, your son of a bitch. Do you know who I am? I am a 9-year-old boy and I am a 7-year-old boy. Let me go. He wanted to use the majesty of the 7 kingdoms to intimidate. The worst of all, he threatened the wrong person. He forgot that, most likely, if you are afraid of the 7 kingdoms, it didn't kill me that year. One of the most powerful elders of Yumin Cup. You Devil 7. It was also not in Batch Dawn. Create a battle that stirs the universe. Power 7 Jia to die to disabled. He is not afraid of the power of the 7. Otherwise, we wouldn't have faced it head on. As predicted. Probably the most, he did not pay attention to his warning. Laughing for an hour. Hands are moving. Just one move immediately removed the feet of Lam Fulfeng. Make him cry in pain like a kite breaking a rope. King Force falling from the middle stitched down. 298 restraints. Everyone looked up in horror at the sky, where Lin Feng is helplessly falling. But I did not see the shadow of the greatest. Now I don't know when. He stood behind the Holy Spirit, smiling softly. Lord, you don't want to stop me. What do you mean by turning your back on me? Hong Fu is quiet in the heart of terror. I can't believe looking at you. How can you kick the wind? And tore off his leg. Then go back to the original position like that. He's in 3 different places at the same time. It's like 3 people doing it together. Dreaming in a cold sweat. The last day of the Holy Kingdom. He also met his strongest opponent. So far. Thinking of this, his face dropped suddenly. Say seriously. Look, I can't take you lightly anymore. Most likely with a grin I said, oh. If you say that, you have underestimated yourself before. Then prepare well now. Following a devilish laughter that echoed. Most likely the world disappears without seeing the shadow. Appeared again. In front of the devil. One wanted to catch him first. But one day I was going to hit it down. Feel again on the side of the ordinary divergence, and incense buildup is dangerous. Hurry up hand. Quickly come back to the side hugging the 2 people leaving. Just in time for 3 people to leave. Where you 2 just stood, in the blink of an eye blown up by a lawyer. The dust is flying everywhere. The king laughed and said, I told you couldn't get past me. The devil breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there is a heavenly government, otherwise, he won't escape. The master of the most valuable. Yu and Sun looked at a wave of activity that just happened. Clicked his tongue. Those 2 are fighting. We can't get involved. We have to stay away for a while. I said, you to rush to the back. the battlefield as far as possible. They almost missed it too. Lamb's helpless cry for help. In the rubble. Save me. One of them is paying attention to him right now. With the terrorist level of the Takir. Who has time to care about his life and death? Most likely, dropped women on the ground. Why no, the Holy Father knew he was protecting these two. That's why it's aimed at them to stop him. To avoid getting entangled again. He looked at the two women behind him. Take off your cloak and take it to the usual place. Said coldly, you to stay away. Before that, he hit the devil. Basically just want to hit the nose. The name of this heavenly emperor. A little warning. And he's a coward with two women. Weak legs, soft hands. He was a little angry and wanted to fight a serious fight. That two divergent people often barely understand. Stay yourself. It will become your burden. Unconsciously nod your head. Quickly retreat to the distance. Hong Fu slammed the corners of her mouth. It's like a little excitement. Most definitely want to face it directly. It's even more exciting. In the interim, the heat on him suddenly dissipated, covering the whole school. Probably the most unforgiving. Immediately release the gas that is, the whole body of the black air gliding. Pupil on the right. It's like hiding, without emitting a golden glow. It's like deep hiding. Just waiting for the Dragon Emperor to arrive. He fired a shot and bit off his neck. Two of these monsters' gases just came out. It gives people a kind of sense of danger. Not even a moment to move. Right now, the sky is on the opposite side. Can't wait. Aggressive rush too. Long March saw this scene. The fear of screaming is the 9 extreme princes determined. Most probably not afraid. Stillness of energy in the palm of the hand. If you scream for an hour, you will arrive at the right time. Ma long meditation. End of words. A dragon's cry echoed to the horizon. Around the most mortal body, suddenly surrounded by a cloud of dark air, formed the image of the black dragon. It's like the black dragon is surrounded by lightning. When it just showed up, the heavens like to crumble to pieces. But over here, the Holy Spirit does not stop coming. In my mouth I can't stop screaming. Emperor extreme determined. Lifting according to his screams. Kim Long's head appeared in the blink of an eye. Towards the surest side of the attack. This power seems to want to destroy the earth. Long March van outside the ring of battle. Feel the powerful atmosphere of the two people coming. Shaking your head for these two. It is a fateful enemy. At a moment where two schools are about to intersect. Suddenly, someone is stopping you. Hold on to their hands and throw them away. You see the people coming. It's slowing down a little bit. 2 hours of rumbling. Your weapons did not hit the enemy. Just hit a space. Make the surrounding become copper ruins. It is one of the 4 pillars of war. On the hand there are 6 pieces of Longbridge spirit, moon knife, 10 sections standing in the center. Looking at the two people. Lonely girl war roared. The old man once said, "Do not fight arbitrarily in Vanlong City." 2 little devils. You see the old man's words as the wind blows through Tai. Hong Fu elegant but arrogant extravagant. But he knows. The man in front of me has a vision. All year round the school. Infected hands full of fresh blood. Not a little gas on you. He basically can't tease these days. So hold down and nod your head.